answers. Good day to you, partner. I'm Guy, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken camp.
Hey guys, we Solo here, aka the Skeleton King. So we have an update to the Warshrike Innocence Act 3 Merc with the Stormspire main hand Sorceress, thanks to Dbot. His gear is a little bit better, but mainly what he did was he added the Infinity Iron Golem from Metalgrid. Now, one of the cool things about Metalgrid, and I want to focus on it, is it's not just for the Iron Golem. It's actually a pretty good amulet, and I know people think I'm memeing when I say it's a pretty good amulet, but it's actually a pretty good amulet, I swear to God. Why? It has flat AR, flat defense, and resistance. And those are all actually primo stats. Flat AR helps so many builds in this game. Flat defense is better than anyone realizes. Trust me, defense is an S+ tier stat, and the world just isn't as smart as the Skeleton King. And res sucks, but yeah, no, res is good. And there's another interesting thing about it, which is particularly how Dbot built this, which is Dbot is actually relying on high defense, PDR, and curse resistance. Now, if you're running Energy Shield, of course you would still want defense, but you really wouldn't care about the PDR, and also the curse resistance wouldn't be as important as well. So he actually wanted me to highlight that one of the changes to his gear was he has a slightly better exile, some PDR from his belt, and I believe he got curse res on the Griffins, which I actually thought was like a bad thing, but apparently that was the core he wanted on it. And for anyone who doesn't know, curse resistance is actually well, it's an underexplored stat for me. I'm sure there are people out there who've already kind of mathed it out a little bit more than I have. But basically, since CDR, you can no longer cap it. It's kind of only useful from cleansing the aura, but actually trying to get CDR on your gear, it doesn't really make sense because kind of the point of running CDR was to not have to worry about capping extra cast rate, right? Or IAS for that matter. And so if you can't be 100% immune to a curse, you're going to be cursed, and then you still have to account for that, or just like you're slower for a bit. And it kind of messes with your playstyle, so it really is important that you don't have to incorporate like slowing down randomly. I'm sure anyone who plays the build, kind of plays the game, knows what I mean when I say that. So how curse resistance kind of works, since CDR is kind of more just an addition from, you know, basically Act 3 Merc or a Paladin in your party, in case you have a spare aura, is that if it lowers the amount, let's say that Amplify increases your damage taken, which is just kind of a nice bonus, but mainly Decrep, okay? If it decreases the amount that Decrepify reduces your cast speed, then it's easier to stack that extra faster cast rate, or IAS, to hit that breakpoint of which you desire. So that's kind of why Curse Resistance really is the new CDR. It's really not as good, but it is a way to not have to deal with, especially if you're playing a build with a lot of casting. Now, if you're just spamming one skill over and over again, like Teleport, I don't think it's that big. But if you're actually swapping between different abilities, like especially a Dark Pack Necro or a Tri-Curse Summoner, it's really annoying to have different cast animations because you will kind of overcast the wrong ones and cast at the wrong rates, and next thing you know, your whole rotation is thrown off. So trust me. And also, when you're playing a sorceress, you kind of want to teleport as quick as possible because they are a bit squishier. Not as squishy as a necromancer, but I guess that's why we've got all those skeletons around us. Exactly. So going more into the build and the direction is that Metalgrid actually kind of helps him hit higher defense, which means he gets hit less. And then, of course, I already talked about the curse resistance, right, in the PDR, which does kind of help him when he gets amped. But there's another thing, is that you can actually... Dbot didn't like the build with Energy Shield, but with some conversations with Shade, who is the gentleman who made the Paladin-based Tesla Flux, right, support for Act 3 Merc, so it's kind of another way to build a character around Act 3 Merc. You could do a Necromancer with lower resist. You could do a Sorceress, right? You could do a Paladin with that juicy Conviction aura, providing like -60 resistance. Well, he was messing around with this sorceress version of the build first, and he actually preferred energy shield, which I would definitely do. And if you're running energy shield, you can completely ignore PDR, and then quite frankly, curse resistance would be slightly less important, because part of the reason he actually does want the curse resistance is he is slightly worried about the amount of damage he takes when he is amplified. And for anyone playing the game, I'm sure you've experienced being amped, jumping into a Fana pack, and just, you know, you're done. No, bye-bye. And yeah, so obviously you can see this build is really, really cool. It works really, really well. Definitely you can build the Paladin without Exile. Go for the Dual Dream if you want, which is just so cute. It does do quite a bit more damage. But again, if you're playing the Sorceress version of this build, I think you kind of have to run Exile on his shield. Now, I think if you're running a Necromancer or a Paladin, you can probably get away with the Dual Dream. But if you're going to play the Sorceress version, especially if you're not holding a shield offhand, and there probably is a way to build this with a shield offhand and become more support focused rather than relying on the charge bolt proc from Stormspire and the more consistent static field, I guess, which is kind of support. But you get what I'm saying. If you're running a shield, you could even probably run Exile, I guess, yourself. And in that case, going Dual Dream for more damage would be great. But I talked to Dbot about this, and he said it actually, he didn't feel like that was a better direction for the build, although it would be kind of cute. So what I have to say about this, again, is I really wish Dbot would not full clear maps. It's almost like he's OCD, and he has to kill every single enemy on the screen. If you, no, he did. He teleported back to kill that one extra mob. So if he watches this video, I'm sure he will. The Skeleton King is challenging you not to have to kill every single mob on the screen. And I just want you to try it once. I know people out there have preferences, and some people really like to make sure every single enemy in a map is dead. I guess he just skipped some there, so it is possible for him to do it. But your map speeds increase so much, and the reason why I think it's okay for your map times is because if it's more efficient, then that's what we should be judging clear times on. We shouldn't judge clear times on your ability to track down every mob in a map if tracking down every mob in a map is a less efficient way to play this game. And of course, I've had this discussion with people and map times and submissions, and trust me, there's no consensus on it, but that's my consensus. And as we all know, Skeleton King makes the rules for PD2. Senpai is basically my proxy, and he passes everything by me. So the map is basically over. He even tries to kill an immune to lightning mob. I think he does that because he wants to show you that it is possible for you to kill an immune to lightning mob, which I think is kind of incredible. And now he's going to do the map event. Speaking of the map mods, they were actually pretty good, but they did have light absorb. So honestly, this T2 was probably as bad as a T3. Because every bit of light absorb is really going to decrease the damage these enemies took. So keep that in mind. And, oh, by the way, did you see how easy it is to unsummon an Iron Golem? You can just take off the amulet and it immediately unsummons and gives you back the item. That is so cool, because there were definitely ways where your Iron Golem could die, like in trade windows with Metalgrid or specking, but I guess that was all fixed with the changes to Iron Golem. So shout out again to the PD2 devs. You guys did great. Yeah, you killed everything, Dbot. GG, guys.
Come play with us, Daddy.